Hey yo, what is up? Zaopin Z2 asymmetric ergo. This is the most surprising mouse in my hands in 2024. Now I've hit 4 personal best scores in 13 days with this mouse. The only other mouse that has come close to this is the Sora V2, which I managed 3 personal bests in the same amount of days. So let's kick off this review. 10 hours plus of usage every day. My hand size 21/12. The temperatures 90s here, which is like 32 degrees. The humidity outside is about 86%. It's about 57 indoors right here. I've got a sweaty fingertip and clammy hand, but I've got a soft, relaxed grip, and that's my style. Now let's kick off with the battery life and cleanliness check. I'm still on my first battery charge after 2 weeks, with 20% of battery life still remaining. I feel like they should have used a 250 milliamp battery or maybe a 300 milliamp battery and bring the weight down slightly, because if I'm not mistaken, this mouse has a 500 milliamp battery inside, which is why the battery life lasts so long. Doesn't make sense that you need 2 weeks of battery life in a wireless mouse. I think even on 4K, I mean, I'm doing this on 1K. If I wanted to really kill the batteries, I would have used it on 4K. It would probably still last 1 week easily, which means if you bring the battery size down to about 250 or 300 milliamps, half the battery size of this 500 milliamp battery, you could still get 3-4 days of 4K battery life, which is more than enough for a high performing mouse. Overall, the Z2 is the best mouse I have experienced for repelling dirt and grime. Now I know I've jumped from battery life straight into cleanliness, but this is the truth. You know, if you're too lazy to clean your mouse, I have found the mouse for you. As you can see, it is very clean even after 2 weeks of absolutely no cleaning at all. There is a little bit of oily residue that stuck to the mouse a little bit, but it goes away. This is fresh marks, so it goes away. Overall, I'm very pleased with how it's holding up in terms of like the cleanliness and, you know, how the grime is sticking to the mouse and stuff. So I'm very happy with that. The shape and size, this is straight up a better G Pro Superlight. You can see the comparisons here. They're both really identical. The silhouette is identical. However, this is of course an asymmetric or ergo. Even the point where you actuate the mouse, it is actually the same height as the G Pro Superlight. Even though this is an ergo, but if you look at where the button placement is or where you rest your fingers, I rest my fingers right here, just at the beginning of the scroll wheel. The height of the button is actually identical on both sides, even though it's slanting this way. Where I place my fingers towards the front of the buttons, it is actually the same height, so it does not feel too far away from a G Pro Superlight, a symmetrical G Pro Superlight. The height and triggers, like I said, it's almost exactly the same. It might be an asymmetrical ergo, but it is essentially the same. In 2024, man, if you want a G Pro Superlight, get this, get the Z2 and find out for yourself. Now, in terms of build quality, immaculate is the word that comes to mind. There is no flaw in the mouse. There is no blemish. There is no creaks. Even though this is hot swappable mouse, which means I can remove the shell, which I've done a couple of times already, but it still is solid. As soon as I seat it on, tighten up the screws, there is no creaks, no wobbles, nothing. Simple unbox, paracord cable, small 4K dongle, and it lights up. sometimes when it's turned on. Just simple and elegant. You would be hard pressed to find the difference between a Z2 and a G Pro Superlight in terms of how solid that build is. Man, it feels exactly the same. It's like almost one-to-one build quality with the G Pro Superlight. When I say almost one-to-one, I mean it's better than a G Pro Superlight. I'll be honest with you, that's how I feel. The coating itself, chalky, grippy coating like a G Pro Superlight. If you like a less aggressive coating, but you feel like you want something better than raw plastic, then this works great. As you know, G Pro Superlight coating is not an aggressive sticky coating like an endgame gear, so this is much appreciated for those people who don't really want a very sticky mouse. The buttons itself, here is where the Z2 pulls away from the G Pro Superlight. This mouse features hot swappable switches which you remove from here, and you can swap it out to whatever switches you want. I bought some extra ones. These are the stock switches, which are TTC gold. They're fine, they're pretty good, but I bought some Huanos from AliExpress and I swapped it out, and I like the Huanos better. My G Pro Superlight has switches that aren't very nice. If you can hear them, very hollow. These are opticals, these are mechanicals, much better. But with my G Pro Superlight, there is no option for me to swap out those switches. There is no way of improving the click feel without investing a lot of time taking the mouse apart, removing the skates, replacing the skates, soldering on, soldering off to make changes on a G Pro Superlight. On the Z2, just take a screwdriver, remove 3 screws, take another small screwdriver, remove the switches, swap them out, put them back in reverse order, and you're good to go. And this is why the Z2 is so much better than a G Pro Superlight. The stock switches itself, even the stock switches, the TTC Gold, are so much better than a G Pro Superlight. But my upgraded Huano 120 million clicks yellow transparent switches are even crispier. These are just magnificent. Next up is the feet. I've already mentioned that I got PTFE feet. I mean, there are better feet out there for sure, but these stock ones, they already work very well. I will note that I had to swap out the stock skates to put on the ones with the cutouts, these ones, and only the ones with the cutouts will give you access to the screws you need to remove in order to change out the switches. So I wish they would have shipped the mouse with these skates instead of having me remove them and put on these skates, you know what I mean? I wish they were already there, stock to begin with, so I don't need to do anything. But you know what? If they wanted to promote hot swapping and they want to make it like a positive feature on this mouse, which it is, they should have done that. They should have made it obvious, or they should have promoted it and make it like one of the strong features that you should be doing with this mouse, which is change your switches and put these skates on instead of the big fat skates that cover everything and you have to remove them if you want to change out the switches. So encourage people to take apart their mice and experiment with switches. If you do that, I think this mouse would be even more attractive than it already is. But back to performance. I already said I have 4 personal bests in this mouse in 13 days, which means this is my best performing mouse that I've ever reviewed. Yeah, and I didn't think it would be one of those high performing mouses. Now the last thing that I want to talk about is of course value for money, and it goes without saying The Z2 beats the G Pro Superlight V2 hands down. A $50 mouse is objectively better than a $159 mouse. This is the new sheriff in town. I would recommend you to buy 3 of these for $50 in different colors instead of buying one G Pro Superlight. And that is my honest opinion. I feel like 2024, the G Pro Superlight is now really outdated when you have a $50 competitor that is actually performing better than a G Pro Superlight, and it also fits better because it's kind of ergo, got a high hump there, fits the hand a little bit better. I really like it. I hope you enjoyed this video and took some useful information, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.